Megan, this goes on and on and on. The yield curve watch. Explain how the yield curve, where the 10-year yield is lower than the 2-year yield or whatever flavor you want, is going to affect the National Bureau of Economic Research's call on recession.
So the fact that the yield curve inverted at the end of last week in and of itself probably won't change NBR's call for growth. There are a lot of reasons why yield curve inversion may not be a reflection on growth at all. You could argue we're issuing so much at the short end of the yield curve and T-bills that's pushing the short end up. And deflation is a tail risk now, not inflation. And so long-term bonds are a great equity hedge for investors. So that's pushing the long end down. You can argue that. You can also say yields are lower outside the U.S. And so a lot of foreign investors are piling into the long end of the yield curve, pushing it down too. So all of those arguments suggest this isn't actually a signal that there's going to be a recession. That being said, 7 of the past 7 recessions have been predated by an inversion of the yield curve. So if everybody thinks the yield curve inversion results in a recession, then investors will behave accordingly and make it happen.
But to both of you, this is a really important question. Megan Green, to first to you as an economist, which is how does the financial system work within curve inversion, and indeed to carry it forward to the negative yields we're seeing once again? Explain how a bank does banking within that environment.
So that is a concern, and that's how the markets can kind of make a recession happen, is if the yield curve inverts, then the banks can't benefit from a carry trade. That constrains lending, and so that constrains economic growth. So that is one way that a yield curve inversion can actually feed through into a recession, but it doesn't have to, and a yield curve inversion for a day or two is not what we need to worry about. It's a yield curve inversion for a quarter, roughly. That's a signal, and it's a signal a recession might happen. It is not at all a signal on when a recession might happen.